This game was played in 2004 in the World Chess Championships, and it was played between Vladimir Kramnik and Peter Leko. And why is this game so special? Because the move that was played was invisible to all engines. So, Vladimir Kramnik is playing with the white pieces, and he opens with move e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, and bishop to b5. So the Ruy Lopez is on the board, and a6. So he goes for the Morphy's defense. Bishop to a5, knight to f6, the Columbus variation, and the kingside castles. Bishop to e7, so the closed, and rook to e1. b5, starting an expansion, and bishop to b3. Castles on the king side, and you could play a move such as a3 in this position, or c3, hide out for the bishop if these two pawns push forwards. So the move that was played is c3. So the bishop has a square to go to, and the c3 move helps the push of d4. d5, and e captures on d5. Knight takes on d5, knight takes on e5, knight takes on e5, and rook takes on e5. So it's a good position for this rook. c6, and d4. So now we have bishop to d6 attacking the rook, and the rook moves all the way back down to e1. h4, so double attacking this square with the queen and the bishop. Now we have g3. So messing up the pawn structure, allowing queen to come to h3, but blocking the bishop's connection with this h2 pawn. Now we have queen to h3. Rook to e4, so trying to get the rook down to h4 somehow. And now we have g5. So this is the best move in the position because it stops rook to come down to the square. Especially in the martial attack. This is the martial attack of the Ruy Lopez opening. Now we have queen to f1, offering a trade of queens. Now we have queen to h5. Knight b to d2, knight to d2. And now we have bishop to f5, attacking the rook. Now we have f3. Okay, Kramnik doesn't mind if he sacrifices the rook for bishop, the piece. So now we have knight to f6, and now the rook moves back to e1. To e8, rook a to e8, and rook captures on e8. Rook takes on e8, and now we have a4, so opening the position again. We have queen to g6, so both the queen and bishop are on this light square diagonal. And now we have a captures on b5. Instead of recapturing with either the c pawn and the a pawn, Peter Leko goes for the bishop to d3 move. Queen to f2, so the queen was under attack and attacking the b5 pawn. And now we have e2 with the rook, so a very nice square for the rook, and it attacks the queen. And now he goes for the sacrifice of the piece, although this is still winning for white. If bishop takes on e2, so he has the rook for the queen, he has recaptures on a6. Will this passed pawn be enough? Queen. Now, we have the move that the engine could not spot. And the move is queen to d3. This is the move that is completely winning for black. So it simply attacks this pawn. Very aggressive. It attacks the king with the queen and the bishop. So there could be some attacks around here. And this king looks quite vulnerable. Okay, now we have king to f2. And now we have bishop takes on f3. Knight takes on f3. Now the knight slides into the action. Knight to e4 with check. King to e1. Now we have knight takes on c3. B takes on c3. And queen takes on c3 with check. King to f2. And now the rook is gone. So this is a completely winning position as black. So the queen has taken on a1. This passed pawn is not going to be enough. Kramnik. a7 trying to advance the pawn. He doesn't worry about this. He pushes his pawns forward, trying to close in the position, so eventually white will resign. Now we have h4 trying to open the position. Now we have g4, an attack on the knight, and it was in this position that Vladimir Kramnik resigned the game. As you can see that you have the bishop pair and the knight for the queen, but this is not enough. Although that black are up the piece is very active, and this is a passed pawn, but it's going to be stopped by the queen. No compensation for being a piece down. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video on the match played in 2004, the World Chess Championship between Vladimir Kramnik and Peter Leko. Please remember to like this video and subscribe.